a lot is going on. It's like we want to just send our prayers and condolences to what happened to the Pope. And I know that, there's a lot of Catholics that are mourning the death of the Pope. So right now, I know our country is flying our flags half staff in honor of the Pope. But moving on along, we are going to be looking at the biases with the media, with the Democrats. I mean, I'm so tired of this supposed to be patriotic duty that the Democrats are portraying. Like you had President Clinton deported 12.3 million people, no injunctions. President Bush, he's a Republican. He deported 10.3 million people. Then you have Obama. He's a Democrat. He deported 5.3 million people. And then you have Trump, who deported just 100,000 people, and he has 30 injunctions. So when I look at it, something is wrong with that picture. You have someone like President Clinton, a Democratic president, that deported 12.3 million people. There were no protests. Nobody was visiting other countries. No one was saying, let's stop him from deporting. You didn't hear from the Republicans. You didn't hear from the Democrats. And now all of a sudden, here you have Trump. There's only been in office maybe 100 days, and they're crying bloody murder, and they have at least 30 injunctions, and everything that's going on is the result of the Democratic Party. They're the ones that open up the borders to allow the people to come in. It's not their fault. Who wouldn't come? Free meals, free health care, education, everything is given to them. They don't even have to follow our laws. And then you have these Congress people that are over in El Salvador. We're going to cover all of that. They're over in El Salvador, and that's why I can see why the Democratic Party have an approval rating of 27%. Lowest ever, 27%, and they still can't hear us. I believe they need to take all of them, put them all together. It's 50 states, get 25 to them, 25 to the rest of us, and give them all the illegal immigrants. And give them Kamala Harris and Tampon Tim, build a wall, and allow them to go for it. That's the kind of government that they want. I don't feel as though the rest of us have to go down with the ship, because we have a $36 trillion deficit that all these presidents and prior presidents refuse to take on this debt. It has to be dealt with. How are we going to have a $36 trillion debt and we're going to bring in more debt to us? Bringing in illegal immigrants at this mass invasion is more than America can handle, especially when we are the ATM for the world. We don't even have money for our citizens, but we're going to go into it and see what some different views from MSNBC, because we're not biased. We're going to show everyone what everyone has to say about what's going on. But I believe that they're not representing the American people. And we keep telling them that they're not representing the American people. So we're going to look at MSNBC's, Fox News, all of them. We're not going to be one-sided.
Do you want to reply to that one comment?
What did the comment say? You can read it. I want to reply, and then we're going to move along. But thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. He said, Trump deported 2 million on first term. This is not the full truth. And the other 3 deported more didn't send thousands to foreign prisons without due process.
None of them. You think that everyone went through our courts? 12.3 million people went through our courts? Maybe that's why we have the $36 trillion deficit. Because just with Kilmar Garcia, it's cost us $5 million. He's seen 17 of our judges at least twice. He's been declared in 2 courts that he's a gang member at NS-13. So why are they over there trying to kidnap someone out of their country? He's home. He's home. He's home. Either it's illegal to be here or it's not.
Saying he was associated with MS-13. We have the restraining order, as David is pointing out, from his wife, that essentially saying he's violent and not really a nice guy. But then I want to put up this list of Democrats who actually still want to visit El Salvador for this guy. Can we just take a list of that? Yeah, Cory Booker right there, my senator from New Jersey. God bless him. He's going to go down to El Salvador because he wants to bring this guy home. Again, as I mentioned last night, Eden Alexander, a 20-year-old from New Jersey, from Tenafly High School, who's still being held hostage by Hamas. Is Cory Booker doing anything in Gaza to try and bring him home? Absolutely not.
No, he's American.
This is the cross.
They do nothing for Americans.
And I don't really understand. I do understand that there's an argument for due process, but why are the Democrats so strong on this particular case?
They're really grasping at straws. You know, what I think really is unfolding here are kind of two tracks. The legal track and the political track. And I just want to say first, whenever you hear the Democrats start cursing, I think that immediately that's like a sign that they really know.
Weak argument if you're
having to resort to the four-letter words to emphasize your point. That's something that my mom always taught me. You can probably think of a better word right there. But yeah, I want to respond to what you said, David Webb. I think you made such a great point. But I see it a little bit differently about the due process and the withholding order. All the issues that you laid out that kind of undermine the fact that this withholding order was still in place, the fact that maybe he could have been deported, but he shouldn't have gone to El Salvador, the fact that the gang was no longer in El Salvador, the fact that he is now designated as a terrorist organization by Senator Marco Rubio, all extremely valid points. But as a lawyer, I would have to point out those are points that would need to be made before a court, and it would be up to the court to decide whether or not Albrego Garcia could be able to go back to El Salvador or somewhere else.
When he was deported, he was a criminal national security threat. So they deported him. Then the court said, well, you have to facilitate his return. At that point, he's an El Salvadoran citizen in the hands of his own government. Now he's their problem.
But Leggett makes a good point. This should be made in front of the courts, not on social media.
No, well,
right,
not
and that's what my point is. I think that the Democrats, they're not wrong. But I think in the hearts and minds of American people, they're looking at what the Trump administration is trying to do by making our country safer, and that's going to be the winning argument that everyone relates to. And I would also say this about the Democrats actually going down to El Salvador to grandstand outside of the prison and parade around and demand his release or what point they're trying to make. It's a losing argument. We have to remember Albrego Garcia has a lawyer of his own that is fighting this due process issue. And that's really where this is all going to be decided.
Funded by taxpayers.
Funded by taxpayers, yes, you're right. So I would just ignore what the Democrats are doing.
Well, in true Democratic fashion, they're taking it to liberal media to make the Kilmar Garcia story all about identity politics. They tend to do that.
If you have ever wanted to land a 100 to 150K,
you know what? It's like amazing. Like when I hear like the different arguments that's going on, and we're gonna like hear from like what they have to say. Like the 4 House Democrats that are flying to El Salvador. We already had Van Hollen on the taxpayers' dollars. He decided to do a press tour yesterday on all the Sunday shows, and then she was asking him. She's like, okay, I think it was Dana. She was asking him on CNN, who paid for it. He didn't even want to say that it was taxpayer dollars. You're going down there. You're not representing Americans. You're not representing us. We didn't ask you to go down there. We're not. This is your fight for some reason. We got other people that need due process right here in the United States. Why don't you help your constituents in Maryland? Why don't you reach out to Patty, whose daughter was brutally murdered by El Salvadorian? You know, it's just amazing that all this energy is everyone but Americans. You know, where is the concern for the people and the constituents that elected you into office? When did we say this is what we wanted you to do?
Maxwell Frost, Yasemin Ansari, and Maxine Dexter flew to El Salvador to visit the mistakenly deported Kilmar Garcia. The trip is meant to, quote, pressure the Trump administration to abide by a Supreme Court order to facilitate the return of Kilmar Garcia. Robert Garcia and Frost attempted to classify the trip as a congressional delegation to House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer.
They have no business
Comer
there.
denied the request, saying, quote, I will not approve a single dime of taxpayer funds to use on the excursion you've requested. Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele committed to keeping Albrego Garcia, as the Trump administration classified him as a member of MS-13. Bukele recently proposed a prisoner swap to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that involves the over 200 Venezuelan suspected gang members deported by the United States. Bukele outlined the proposal, which includes El Salvador handing over the 252 Venezuelan migrants for the same number of political prisoners held by Maduro's regime. Representatives Robert Garcia,
See.
Maxwell.
You know, so why are, now here go his president, Bouquet, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He has a president. He's in his country. He is not a United States citizen, but these people were flying down on taxpayer dime, Van Hollen. I don't know who paid for these 4 senators. I know Cory Booker is trying to run down there as well, because I believe that they want national attention. They want to be, there's nobody leading the party, so everybody's trying to throw their hat into, you know, into the bid to be a candidate, maybe to run in 2028. So they're all trying to make a name for themselves, but they're still not hearing us. It's like, can you hear us now? Like, we're not concerned about this guy. You know, we know that the bigger plan is that you guys are still on mission to legalize 14 million people that have put a burden on this country and on the taxpayers, because it's all about power and it's all about votes. It's not about these people. And y'all certainly don't care about this man. This is all for the cameras. They do not care about this man.
It's all a game.
Yeah, it's the game of cards. That's all it is. You got
House of cards.
It's the house of cards. That's what's going on. It's the house of cards. And we're watching it. And you know who's being played? The American people. When did the American people say to these senators and Congress people that this is what we want you to do? We want you to go to El Salvador and fight for this guy. We want you to spend our tax. We already spent $5 million on him. They got a GoFundMe for him that's up to $250,000. Y'all gonna make him a millionaire. Here, this man has been confirmed NSN-13 gang member. He's been recognized. He has the tattoos for it. He has beaten his wife. They have all the proof, all of these other things. And is it illegal to be in the United States or not?
I did.
Is it illegal or not? I mean,
Yeah,
the Democrats have to make up their mind. What laws are we going to follow?
Yeah, and then I saw, that there's other GoFundMe's up for him that have totally raised $50,000. So besides the main GoFundMe, there's other American citizens making GoFundMes for him.
For him, because the Democrats have gaslighted the American people. The Democrats, look, you're talking to a black woman that has always voted for the Democrats. You know, they promise us something every 4 years and do nothing for us. But y'all don't want to give us reparations, but y'all bring in 14 million illegal homeless people and shower them with education, with health care, Medicaid, with Social Security. They even got Social Security numbers for a lot of them. They even voted illegally in our elections. But when we have a hurricane, FEMA has no money for North Carolina. When we have a hurricane, they have no money for Florida. When we have wildfires, they don't have the $55 billion to rebuild California. And now California with Gavin Newsom, he said, not only was for men and women's sports, now he done changed that. He said it's unfair. Now it's unfair for men to play against women. And you know they went after his neck for that. But now he's saying that he gave Medicaid to everyone. Now they're broke. So now American citizens, there's no money for them to have medical coverage in California. That's what's going to trickle down to all the states.
Someone has said that. Someone said good content.
Thank you.
Someone said criminal rights or human rights.
Criminal rights or human rights.
Is that a joke? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, honestly, we're living in the upside down world. Like the alternate universe. It's like Stranger Things. You know, it's like right is wrong and wrong is right. It's like, where's Dr. Strange at? Is he gonna pop up soon and start, changing the universe? Because that's what I feel like. We're in a multiverse, or the Twilight Zone. I don't know, because people have been gaslighted so much, and it's funny how. And I was one of them. I was so brainwashed. They keep telling you the same thing over and over while they do nothing for you. Now they still can't tell you who's the the leader of the party, they still can't tell you what are they doing for American citizens. We see what they're doing for Kilmar, but what are they doing for the American citizens?
You think the leader's Bernie?
Bernie's not the leader. AOC, have you seen AOC borough, like what's going on in AOC district? Her whole district is full of gangs. The gang members, the people are just losing their mind, and she's running around the country, but her constituents are crying.
Yeah, Happy Mac said Gavin Newsom is trying really hard to distance himself from the mess he's made.
Yeah, he's trying to distance himself, and that's why he's like, look, yeah, it's unfair to have men and women sports. Now he's going to say that. Just because a man stand up there 6'5", and he's going to go in the locker room fully intact, and he's going to undress, and the girls are supposed to undress in front of this man, and they seeing penis and testicles, and and he's like, he's a woman. I mean, didn't God determine that since the beginning of time? They want to say they don't know what a woman is? Really? So all of a sudden, the last 10 years, or 5 years now, nobody knows what a woman is. Now they want to redefine what a woman is when that's been established from the beginning of time. What is your mother? What is she? Who gave birth to you? It's like I said, this is like the upside down universe. You know, it's like crazy. But go ahead, you can read that. But we're going to get back to, because we got a lot we want to hear from our leaders.
Migrants is the right thing to do. So why are we seeing so many Democratic lawmakers going down to El Salvador to meet with an accused MS-13 gang member?
Because it's bigger, as we discussed yesterday on the Big Money Show, than a break.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a big thing that's going on. And they're all jockeying to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. And that's what it is. There is no leader. Their approval rating is down the toilet.
It just makes you scratch your head and say, what are the Democrats doing?
Well, apparently they love having conjugal visits with MS-13 members, I guess. But this is a real problem. I mean, with apologies to my friend James Carville, who is, look, he's a brilliant mind, and as Matt Towery said the other night on the Ingram show, they may be doing this, and he may be advocating this. They're not worried about America right now. They're worried about the far left and the energized base, the beaten down base in their own party. And they think this Abrego Garcia character somehow engenders sympathy from the left, and they can raise a lot of money off of it. That might be true, but we'll see. But the larger issue that David raised is the right one.
King.
This looks really bad for the entire party. And I don't know how much longer you can keep saying he's not a member of MS-13 or this hasn't been proven. The guy's tats now have shown up. The president tweeted them overnight. It's clear this guy is a loving father from Maryland, the way Luigi Mangione is a sweet kid from Baltimore. It doesn't wash out.
Here's a really key point on the tattoos, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway, it's like crazy. Like what's going on. When you look at some of these leaders, it's like it's shameful that they have the audacity to act like that they're speaking for the American people. I mean, how much lower do the Democratic Party rating has to fall before they can hear us? Nobody said that they wanted this. We already have our own problems.
Shout out to Greg.
Huh?
Shout out to Greg.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like the things that are going on, and they're still not hearing Americans. They lost the election, they lost the House, they lost the Senate, and they still refuse to listen to the American people. You know, they're not hearing us.
Noriega is standing by. You're in El Salvador, David. That's where Kilmar Abrego Garcia and others are being held. What are you hearing on the ground there?
Well, Ryan, you know, it depends on who you ask. I've spent the day talking to a number of different sorts of people here, including some ordinary Salvadorans whom I've been asking about, the Bukele government generally, but also these deportations from the United States. Generally speaking, the Bukele government here is extremely popular because of the advances that he's made, the progress that he's made in the security situation. This is a country that was previously really riven by gang violence, and that gang violence has significantly subsided. At the same time, people are extremely wary of criticizing the government because a lot of people have been swept up in this very wide-ranging crackdown on the gangs, which even President Bukele himself has admitted has swept up some innocent people who are now in the prisons. Now, also, Ryan, I should point out that there are 4 U.S. Democratic lawmakers on the ground in El Salvador here today who said they are here to put pressure on both the Trump and Bukele governments to release Kilmar Garcia, or at minimum to establish access between Kilmar Garcia and his family and his counsel. They have not achieved those goals, Ryan, but they also say that they are here for media and political reasons, to keep public attention on this case. That, they say, is something that they have achieved. I interviewed one of those congressmen here in El Salvador this morning, Maxwell Frost from Florida. He's the youngest congressman currently, and this is what he had to say. Take a listen.
It is important that we draw the line here and that we come here to ensure that we keep this added pressure on the Trump administration to bring Kilmar back to the United States so he can go through due process. This is on behalf of my constituents. I'm not the type of legislator to wait till something gets to the point where it's so bad we can't do anything about it. Now is the chance. Now is the time to take a stand and say this is not right.
These people are crazy.
But Ryan, the response from Republicans to this has been pretty mocking. They think that this is politically a winning issue for them. They say that it's good for them to have Democratic lawmakers visiting El Salvador and, in their view, advocating for people that they describe as violent criminals and gang members. In fact, the National Republican Congressional Committee offered to foot the bill for any future trips by Democratic lawmakers to El Salvador.
Wow.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
That is so funny. They like, we'll pay y'all to keep going over here. How are you going to go over to another country one of their citizens and demand that president and that country to send them back to a country that they enter illegally for due process to send him back out of the country? I mean, it doesn't make, no, they want us to spend $5 million more. That's what, because we already spent $5 million on them. How we get $36 trillion in debt? Oh, we're opening up borders. Oh, I guess they're just waiting for America to collapse. And then everyone can invade us and you get a state and you get a state and you get a state, because it's unsustainable what's going on. And Trump is the only president that's taking on the debt. We don't have an unlimited well. Where's the money going to come from to continue taking care of people? These people are coming here doing all sorts of things. It hasn't benefited us. They're not here. Guess what, y'all? Let me just be clear. They're not here to benefit us. They're here to benefit the Democratic leadership because they want power. They didn't open up the borders out of the kindness of their heart. Biden was suffering from dementia. He wasn't even running the country. He was on vacation at least 40% of the time, which cost us probably billions of dollars, taking care of an inactive president. So it probably was Obama. People say maybe it was Obama who was running the country the last 4 years. You're like, who was running the country? Who was it?
Wow.
Huh?
Someone said due process. You have brown skin, you should be scared.
You know what? God hasn't given me a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So that's not of God. That's of the devil. Okay? That's of the devil. Have faith in God. That's what you do. So what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Speaking facts and speaking what you believe, that's your right. That is your right. These are our opinions. And because we are Americans, unlike other countries, we have what's called freedom of speech. And that's what we're speaking. And God said, go out into the world. You know, we're supposed to make disciples of men. We're supposed to be speaking the truth. And that's why this is called Speak the Truth 2.0. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We'll show the MSNBC, NBC, CBS, the mainstream media. They got everybody brainwashed. And we'll show Fox and Forbes and anyone else. You know, Right Side, what's that called? Right Side Broadcasting or whatever. Cash Jordan, Nick Shirley. You know, we show everyone to show that we're not like mainstream media. We want to hear from people who don't necessarily agree.
Jason, it's called the Bible. We know what God has said, and he told all of us in the Bible.
No one claimed to speak for God, but when you're a child of God, you speak the word of God.
And the Bible.
And the Bible. The Bible is the word of God. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to hide. He said, we're not going to hide the light under the bushel. He said, ye are the light of the world. A city that's set on a hill should not be hidden. So we're not going to be hidden. Our light is going to shine before men so they can see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven. We're mandated to do that. Thank you, Laura, and you. Ephesians 4:15. But you're speaking the truth in, let me see, in love may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ. In Jesus' name, I thank you for that. You know, I'm sorry, I don't want to be up on it. That's why I was reading this slowly, because I don't want y'all, I'm really up on the camera. But we want to thank you for blessing us, because God said you can't outdo God in giving. He said, give and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And with the same measure you meet shall be measured unto you again. So we pray that God bless you 100-fold, Loren. So we do thank, you know, doing what God has mandated for us to do. But we're going to go in here, and these people have traveled not to taking care of their constituents in their so-called states. They're everywhere else, you know, taking care of non-citizens. And they don't care about this man. Why would they make him the poster child? He's not an up, person, upstanding person that you want to say, okay, this is upstanding man and he represents this. He's not representing that. This guy has a history of, first of all, coming into this country illegally. You know, it's like some laws, like what laws are we going to keep? What laws are we going to keep? The laws that the Democrats want us to keep? Or are we supposed to keep all the laws?
Democrats are in El Salvador this morning trying to secure the release of Kilmar Garcia. This comes just days after Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen's visit. We heard from senators a few moments ago. The lawmakers say they plan to meet with Salvadorian officials at the U.S. Embassy to advocate for
MSNBC
and get information on the other migrants who were deported to a notorious Salvadorian prison. Democrat Congressman Robert Garcia of California is leading the delegation and joins us now live from El Salvador. Congressman, good morning. Thank you for being with us this morning. You're there with three fellow Democrats. Talk to us. Just start why this mission here is so important, and not just about Mr. Abrego Garcia, but all the others who were deported, many would say, without due process.
Yeah, they're not trying to get any of them.
What's really important here that people need to understand is we have the President of the United States defying a 9-0 unanimous Supreme Court decision to bring Kilmar back home to the United States. This, in my opinion, is on its way to a constitutional crisis in this country. You cannot defy not just Supreme Court, but also lower courts. The Trump administration has also said that they sent Mr. Abrego Garcia here on accident. It is time to bring Kilmar home, and we're continuing the work of Senator Van Hollen.
He is home.
We will not be the last members of the delegation to be here. There's other senators and members of Congress that will be here in El Salvador. But it's really important that we advocate for his release. He's been wrongly sentenced, as have, by the way, hundreds of other individuals who are in our country in different status, asylum seekers, people that are on some type of permit, some type of Student visas, we know, are being deported across the country as well to other places. And so this is a moment for us to stand for our values and for due process in this country. We also know it's not just about Kilmar. There's a young man named Avery down here, 19 years old, a young gay man, hairdresser, seeking asylum. Got sent here. We have no proof of life yet of how he's doing. So we have a lot of work to do. We're on our way actually to the embassy to get a classified briefing in just about an hour.
You're certainly right to highlight it's more than just this one case that's gotten so much attention. You mentioned how the Trump administration seems to be in defiance, or at least delayed, bordering on defiance of a Supreme Court ruling. But they've also made the claim that they simply, well, we don't have any jurisdiction anymore. He's in El Salvadorian custody. Tell us what you make of that argument and what you'll say to the El Salvadorian officials you'll see later today.
Well, we know that there's no question that if Donald Trump, the president, wants to have Kilmar back home, he would get back home.
Already
he,
home.
Of course, has a very strong relationship with the president of El Salvador, and they're working together on this. The president of the United States sent Kilmar here by accident. The courts have said he needs to return, and the president needs to act. We're here to continue that pressure on the Trump administration and also to build support here in El Salvador for Kilmar's release and to bring attention to the facility that's here, the jail that's here, we know hundreds of people, Venezuelan migrants, people that are seeking asylum, folks that were here like Kilmar who are wrongly sent here. The attention here on this issue is important, especially because you have a president that is defying the Supreme Court. And I can't tell you how important it is our country that every single person,
Trump make it
regardless of where they're at in their status, whether they have a work visa, whether they have a student visa, whether they're exercising their free First Amendment rights, they have a due process right in our country. We've got to maintain that.
Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia of California, important words. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Safe travels to you.
This is so crazy. These people are fighting with every fiber in their body, not for us. This is my whole issue. You know, it's not the immigrants' fault. They have it made. But they act like this is what we want. That's what I'm not getting. I mean, you got a 27% approval rating, and you still think that we want you going over to El Salvador. Y'all all running there because y'all want to be the leader of the party, because the party's in shambles. Yeah, this is crazy.
It's bewilderment to see people taken up for an MS-13 member, a man who brutally would beat his wife, an illegal immigrant. All of these things. This guy wasn't a model citizen, Boy Scout, good Samaritan, a good human being. This guy's the lowest of the low. He's part of one of the most vicious gangs in the history of this entire world. And it's just really crazy to see people taking up for him and feeling sorry for him. Like the Democrats going to El Salvador, like
the leaders.
The leaders feeling so sorry for him and trying to show that they're sorry. They feel sorry for him. It's crazy.
They don't even know him.
Yeah.
And even with his wife saying that she was afraid of him, he was threatening. She had to give restraining orders on him.
Speeding in the car with her in the child.
They said that he was human trafficking. You know, this guy has a lot that he was doing illegally, let alone entering the country that way. Oh, thank you. God bless you.
God bless you, Lauren. She said, I'm giving that like first. She said, here is 50-fold for now. Thank you both for speaking the truth unto darkness. God is opening a window for revival in this country as the world stands on the doormat of his final days. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, God bless you. And we appreciate it. And we don't ask for anything. We just think that you feel as though that you want to bless us. And we're not going to stop you from blessing us, because God said, give and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. And with the same measure he meets shall be measured unto you again. So I just pray that God just restore unto you 100-fold.
Well, yeah. And that's why you were blocked, Alexander, because I'm about to block you because you're spamming now. Like, that's why you were blocked, like you said you were blocked. That's why he got blocked before.
Someone was here before doing?
Yeah, he said he got blocked, but that's what shows you that when people don't agree with you, you block them. But he's spamming just the same comment over again and over.
You know, the thing about it, that you can agree to disagree. You know, we welcome that. We want to hear what you have to say. You know, so we're here to say what's the truth. That's why this is called Speak the Truth 2.0. But there's a reason for all this madness, all this gaslighting. You know, when has it been an election and you're having 50-51? They're out there organizing. These Democrats are just paying these protesters. They're organized. The election is over with. We're one nation under God. Guess what? Trump won. He's your president. He's your president. And he's moving forward just like they are with his plans. And see, their plans is to legalize. It's not about Kilmar. I see it. Come on, y'all, wake up. This is a house of cards. It's not about this dude. They're running over there because they're still on mission. Whoever it is behind the scenes, it could be Obama. It could be Clinton. It could be, maybe they all meeting around the round table. But their plan is to legalize these immigrants in order to win elections. They're here for them to win elections. They don't care how much they destroy this country. They don't care how many lives that are lost in the process. They didn't care about Rachel Morin being savagely brutalized and murdered. They don't care. You got her senator Van Hollen went to El Salvador, and then the family that he represents, who are Americans, he said little to them, if nothing. He's showing more care for someone that's not American than Americans. That's the Democratic Party thing. They put illegal migrants over American citizens. They're not fighting for you. It's nothing they're doing is for you. That's what we need. That's why we voted them out. Guess who don't have the Senate? Guess who doesn't have the House? Guess who didn't win the presidency? I mean, they still haven't gotten the memo. They up there like they doing something. We're over there and he needs due process. What about the 17 judges that he stood before at least twice?
$100, that's all you could bet? It sounds like you're on welfare.
You know? What about that? You know, this is so, it's like this insanity has to stop. I don't know what it's going to take to wake people up. You know, if I can see it, and I am a legislative director, I've been an activist, I'm an organizer. Like you saw them rallies that you've seen that have been out there hands off, and I would have been the one organizing that. I would have been one of the main ones. Okay? I'm like, I'm not for that now. Because now I realize who's the wolves in sheep clothing. And that's them. When I see that they don't fight for us, they don't fight for women. They put LGBTQ, they put transgenders over biological women. They put illegal immigrants over American citizens. They put God, like God is not even a part of what they believe in, because God is not in abortion. He's not in same-sex marriages. It's like this nation is supposed to be 85% Christian. And last year, Biden declared a day of visibility on Easter, Resurrection Day. So it's like, I don't know, who are they representing? They were supposed to be representing the middle class, working people. They don't represent working people. They represent themselves. When the last time they talked to you about jobs? They've been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. When have they had a positive job report? When have they talked about jobs? When do you hear them the whole time, the last 4 years, talking about the inflation, the economy? When did they say that they're going to do anything for American citizens? Every time they open up their mouth, they're talking about foreigners. They're talking about, they are responsible for the war in Ukraine. They could have stopped it. They didn't even try to stop that war. We're paying for that. Paying for the war in Gaza. All they have done is cause a burden on America when we're $36 trillion in debt. How are we supposed to survive this? That's why Trump said, and everybody knew, that we could not survive another 4 years of this. We couldn't survive another 4 years. It would be no America. It would be no America. What kind of leader was Kamala Harris? If she was, well, look, that's like giving her a lot of credit. She wasn't a leader at all. She would need a teleprompter just to talk to the American people. You know, Trump doesn't talk with a script or a teleprompter. Everything's off the cuff. His whole administration, they just speak to the American people. He lets you in on the Oval Office, closed meetings. He lets you in on all the executive board meetings. He tells you everything he's going to do or plan to do before he does it. He's actually been keeping his word. He's actually been keeping his word. I'm really ready to put something on. You know, it's just amazing when we look at what's going on in this country, and they got you all riled up, they got you angry, and they got TDS, Donald Trump syndrome, and all they do is blame him. They blame him for the air. They blame him for honoring a young boy with brain cancer. They get mad at him honoring Lakey Riley's family, you know, and what she had gone through, losing her life. Trump said he could cure cancer, and they still won't like that. No matter what, they got them complaining about everything.
Looking at them getting our equipment.
You know, they left at the Taliban billions of dollars worth of our equipment, billions.
And they
hightail out of there, and Iran was completely broke. Now they're in the process of obtaining a nuclear bomb, thanks to Biden. Biden did that.
That's state of the art equipment too. That's the top of the notch equipment they have now.
They selling it to the world.
Helicopters, they got everything.
This is what these fools did.
This is because of Joe Biden and the Democratic regime.
They destroyed this country.
This is them having a parade.
This one doesn't have any sound.
Oh, I turned the sound down. But yeah, it probably has music.
Okay.
This crap. It's the Taliban.
This is what we left there. Well, this our equipment. This American equipment. Joe Biden and them. They evacuated, left all. Look what they left. They left this and lost what? How many lives? 16 lives?
It's a golden age.
This is a golden age, a day in history of Afghanistan. Thank you, Biden. Thank you, Biden. That's what Biden did. It's also important to remember this day so that the future generations will learn the lessons and independence. Reciprocity. How do you say that? High-ranked Taliban officials were joined by diplomats from China, Russia. We're done. We're done. Our message to the world is that they should not think that we have gained freedom. We do not retaliate. We have provided good work and opportunity for people. Yeah, y'all have. This is crazy. But that's the result. I mean, we could go of the former administration. I mean, we weren't going to survive these people. It's insanity on another level.
All they've done.
And it's like so amazing that you're trying to tell people what they have done and they really want to fight you over it. They're out there fighting for that party. The people are out there by the thousands in every state. They didn't even give them a message to stand on. When you ask them why you're out there, they can't even tell you. Because it's not for them. It's not for them. They just want them angry and upset with Trump while they do nothing for you. You know that's the goal, right? Be mad at Trump while they do nothing for Americans. That's the goal. Keep brainwashing you, keep you upset, keep us divided. We suffered through Biden. Do you see anybody out there protesting Biden one time? Look all that he's done to this country. Not one protest against what he was doing. He wouldn't even close the borders. He refused to close the borders. Now, Trump been in office, he had them borders closed within a month. Like, it's 99% now closed.
Then
That was without any executive orders. He closed the borders.
And then you got protests with people burning
burning
the American flag.
And when have you ever seen anyone burning the American flag? If you fly a flag, I've been at places, you fly a flag, you're not supposed to let that flag even touch the ground. That's an insult. You're not supposed to allow the flag to hit the ground. They've been over here burning the flag and flying their flags. Like, why are you here? If your country is so great, why are you here? They flying their flags. You're really, even in the rallies, you'll see American flag here and there. It's all these other flags. But you want to be in our country. No respect to our men and women that serve in our military that have fought for us. No respect at all. They don't respect our country. They don't respect us. They think that they're supposed to be given things. You know how children are? You give them everything they want. They act like we're supposed to. While the rest of, but what was America doing? America was whining and crying about high interest rates, about how the prices of eggs. They were whining about inflation, the economy, about men and women's sports, all this stuff. And they couldn't, and what did they run on? Abortion. Abortion. For what's that, for all America? What happened to birth control? It was just so crazy. They had no message because they destroyed this country, and the only thing they did was try to keep your focus on Trump, as though he was the president. Like he was responsible for the mess. No, Trump is responsible for cleaning up the mess. That's what he landed in his lap. And guess what? He's a boss, and he can stand, and he know who he is. So he don't care what they say. This, like that halt that they got right now with the Supreme Court or whatever because of ACLU, that's temporary. That's temporary. If we can't get the criminals out, this is their whole thing. You don't get them out, then you're not going to be able to get anyone out. And what's going to happen to America? Well, everybody going to lose their health care because we can't afford them? We can't afford them. People don't understand that America can't afford this. You know? We can't afford it. I don't think they understand we can't afford it. We're going to collapse.
Holland is headed to El Salvador today, where a legal immigrant and suspected MS-13 gang member Kilmar Garcia is being held while the Trump administration fights his return to the U.S.
I don't even know if we announced this, but I am planning tomorrow to go to El Salvador.
Look at these fools.
To bring them home. The Trump administration
He is home.
He
is
in
home.
Federal court that he was wrongfully abducted from the United States.
He was abducted. This comes as House Democrats are reportedly planning to send a delegation to the mega prison where he's being held. Let's bring in the man himself. Board Czar Tom Homan joins us now. Tom, I just want to focus on one portion when the senator said that he was abducted. As the former leader of ICE, what do you say to him?
He wasn't abducted. He's an MS-13 gang member, classified as a terrorist that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person, an El Salvadoran national, was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. That public safety threat is exactly what should have happened. And I'm just disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El Salvador his aid. When yesterday, I read in his state, an illegal alien charged with murder was released back into the community, and not the ICE detainer wasn't honored, and ICE had to go find him in his state. In his state, the murder of Rachel Martin yesterday. Listen to the testimony and listen to the mother on Haney last night. If you're not human, then your heart wasn't broken. It's just in his state. But rather than taking care of the constituents in his state, the victims of illegal crime in his state, he's going to run to El Salvador to protect the MS-13 terrorists. It's just disgusting.
You just talked about that sound from Patty Moore and Rachel's mom. We actually have it. Let's play it.
I'm very angry. I'm actually outraged, but I'm too sad at the moment to show anger at the same time. There was no action on the Democratic Party in any way, from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas,
Terrible.
Anyone here in Maryland, none of the senators search for the murderer of my daughter.
Tom, where were the phone
That's
calls?
crazy.
Where were the congressional delegations
Crazy.
at her funeral?
That's horrible.
Supporting her family when she was killed.
They don't care.
By an illegal.
They don't care. And further on in the testimony, in her interview, she talks about how her young daughter died, how she suffered, how she fought for her life, just like Lincoln Riley. For how long? 17 minutes she fought for her life. That young girl didn't want to die. So these congressmen and senators, how do these women die? Look how they fought for their lives. Do they have daughters? Do they have any care at all for American citizens that are victims of these crimes? But they're loud and screaming now about this MA-13 game. I mean, where were they when we had 12 million illegal aliens coming across the border? Where were they when we had a 600% increase in sex trafficking? Where were they when we had 4,000 aliens dying making this journey under Joe Biden? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl? It's just ridiculous. Every day I can't believe what I'm hearing. Yesterday, I hear about a case in Washington State. 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela kidnapped and tortured and tried to kill a woman, rob her using a power drill, torturing her and drilling through her hand. Every day I sit at the White House and hear these cases of sanctuary cities not helping ICE remove public safety threats from their communities.
Well, Tom, the proof is in the pudding, and we're looking at the border now, and there's just there's a stark contrast between the border now versus under Joe Biden. Here's some of the footage right there where you can see during the Biden years, and now look at it now. I mean, it's almost operational control, and it's just not the imagery. When you look at the numbers, 95% down when it comes to those crossing numbers. How are you able to get it done and so quickly with no legislation passed?
Because I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. Yeah. He secured that border in 5 weeks. He did it in 5 weeks what Joe Biden couldn't or wouldn't do.
He wouldn't do. He could. He wouldn't.
Today, as we're talking right now, Lawrence, we have the most secure border in my lifetime right now because of President Trump's actions. And again, getting back to sanctuary cities, they want to keep their game going. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get together with Secretary No. We're going to flood these sanctuary cities with federal agents. If we can't arrest a bad guy in jail, we're going to arrest him on the street. We got to do it stronger. We got to do it faster. If we can't do it in the streets, then we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations in those sanctuary cities. We're going to flood worksite enforcement operations. If we can't arrest them at the home, then we'll arrest them at workplace. We're coming to sanctuary cities.
Wow.
We're going to put all hands on deck. Sanctuary cities are not going to get away with this illegality that's killing Americans at record numbers. I'm disgusted at every representative on the Hill who isn't fighting with ICE to arrest every public safety threat, every national security threat.
Why are they fighting against them?
President Trump made a promise. We're going to keep that promise.
But the proof is in the pudding, as I said. He's definitely keeping his promise, and so are you, Tom. Thanks for joining the show this morning.
I mean, it's just incredible
I'm
that
seduced.
they have
I'm right.
all this energy for illegal immigrants because there's a bigger plan. The plan is not about Kilmar Garcia. He's just a poster child, but that's not the plan. They don't care about the illegal immigrants. They don't care about them at all. That's not what the deal is. They couldn't care less about them. What they care about are votes. They look at each one of them as a potential vote. We want to keep pushing, and to the point that they want to push that these people need to be legalized. That's what they want to do. They want it. We can't handle it. We can't handle it. They don't care what they do. They don't care how much they destroy this country as long as they have the power. Because it's always about power. It's always about power. And they thought that they were going to be able to steal the last election. I didn't believe it before. When Trump kept saying fake news, they stole the election. I believe it now. By their actions. I wholeheartedly believe they stole the election from him in 2020. They stole it. Biden never got no 81 million votes. He has not been the most popular president. Ain't no way in heck. He got more votes than everybody else ever have gotten. He was never that popular, ever. And I helped get him in there. I know I didn't get no 81 million people to vote for that man. So it's a lot that's going on right now, but the truth is always is going to always manifest. So a lot of the stuff that's coming out, how they knew about the dementia, they knew about all this stuff that was going on, and the players, the people that's really running stuff, that's really behind it, they're going to have to come out in the front sooner or later, because a lot of their plans have failed because they were supposed to win. They thought they were going to win, but Trump, they were ready for them. They had Laura making sure there were lawyers and people camped out at all the voting, facilities and all of that. They were ready for them.
But this really goes to show you that Trump is the fall guy. I had no idea all those presidents deported.
Let's go back to that. Say it loud so they can hear you.
Yeah, this just shows you that Trump is the one that's he's always the one blamed. And he's the fall guy.
Yes.
We had no idea that all these other previous presidents, Democrat presidents too, deported all these immigrants. Much more than Trump has. Mm-hmm. Trump has deported right now just around 100,000.
100,000.
They've deported millions with zero conjunctions. That tells you a lot.
And guess what? Now, how did Clinton deport 12 million point 3? Not one injunction. 12 million point 3. Nobody said one word. Nobody complained. Nobody had these mass protests. No one said you got to go. They all supposed to have due process. I mean, what happened? What happened to that? What happened to that? What happened to that? 12.3 million. Zero injunctions. No outrage. I didn't see the mainstream media. I didn't see any media talking about, making a big deal about him deporting 12 Where were their due process? So they all need to come back, right? And then following him, he was Democratic president. Following him, President Bush. He's a Republican president. He deported 10.3 million illegal immigrants. Where were the protests for Bush? Where was hands off? Where was 50-51? Where were all these people that are protesting now and saying that and they weren't even talking about the people he deported with gang members. There was no Trinde Araga. It wasn't all this stuff going on that we have now. And he deported, guess how many injunctions Bush had? I'll wait. How many injunctions did Bush have? He deported 10.3 million illegal immigrants. He deported them out of the United States. How many injunctions did President Bush? Now that we did Democrat president, that was Clinton, 12.3 million. Republican president, 10.3 million. Both had zero. There you go. David Cox. Zero injunctions.
Well, that's a touchy subject because someone brought up that terrorists shouldn't get due process, and I'll ask you because people be like, okay, Kilmar should have got due process. How do you feel? Do you feel like they should still get due process, or that they're a legal immigrant they shouldn't get due process?
Did he come here illegally?
Yeah.
Is he American citizen?
No.
So why should he have due process? Did those 12.3 million people that Clinton illegal immigrants that Clinton deported, did they have due process? Didn't Kilmar?
Someone said everyone gets due process.
Didn't Kilmar go between 17 judges here? He had 2 courts that declared that he was with MS-13. He'd been seen by judges twice. You know how much money we spent on this man so far? $5 million. Yeah. So we supposed to do every immigrant, even alleged gang members. We supposed to spend what, 10 million per person? Oh, we just going, we need to just go ahead and let them bomb the United States of America because, hey, we bombing ourselves now. We're not going to exist.
They're saying that the Constitution says that everyone should get due process.
Americans.
And someone said that,
someone
said, bruh, you're insane. You can't say terrorists shouldn't get due process because you don't know.
Terrorists?
Crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
Well, anyway, getting back, where were everybody talking about Bill Clinton with 12.3 million? And he wasn't talking about terrorists, gang members. He deported 12.3 million illegal immigrants. They broke the law. Where were all y'all? Where was the outrage? We talking about people that the worst of the worst have come into this country now. That's what we're talking about now. And guess how many Obama? Let's get to Obama. Obama deported 5.3 million. He even had kids in cages. How many injunctions did Obama have? I'll wait. How many injunctions? He had 5.3 million people that he deported. I'm trying to see if they answer that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. People saying the Constitution says people get due process.
Guess what? He's getting due process in his country with his president. He's not an American citizen. He has his due process in El Salvador. He's El Salvadorian. So that's where, because we already taken him to court. He already was supposed to be deported in 2019, and he's illegally here. Is that still breaking the law, or y'all saying that's not breaking the law?
Well,
somebody broke the law. You talking about they put their due process to send him out of here, but Obama sent out 5.3 million, and you know how many injunctions? I'm gonna give it. How many injunctions did he have?
Well, that's what that guy did. I forgot the senator's name. Tom Homan. Now all illegal immigrants are gonna
Van
Van
Hollen.
Yeah, Van Hollen. All illegal immigrants are going to claim due process and fight for due process now.
The Democrats, this is gaslighting.
Yeah.
The whole goal is to try to make them citizens. We can't afford it. Our Medicaid and Medicare is already collapsing, having them on it. We already have $36 trillion worth of debt. We literally need help from the rest of the world. We don't have the money for what they have done. They don't care what happens to this country. The Democratic Party is not doing anything for you. Not a damn thing. They're not fighting for you. His due process is in El Salvador. I think we spent enough money on him. $5 million, that's enough money on him. He didn't pay one penny of that. But let's get to Trump. Trump has only deported 100,000. 100,000. Oh, thank you, Basil. Read this. 12 injunctions against Obama, according to Harvard. Okay, Obama had 12 injunctions. You know how many? But they didn't do anything. He still deported 5 million. 5.3 million. That's, you know how many Trump has? I put it in my thumbnail. 30 injunctions. 30. For 100,000 people. 30. He has 30. And counting, probably. To try to get out criminals. Criminals. He's only going after the criminals. And guess what? Guess what? The Democrats are so crazy at this point. Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Really? Now, don't do that because Trump is the president. He gets 30 injunctions, but somebody that deported, a Democrat that deported 12.3 million, then he had 0 injunctions. 0. 0. Make that make sense. 100,000 people, 30 injunctions. 12.3 million people, 0 injunctions. They're going. And did you ask for them to go over to El Salvador? You think that they representing you, America? Are they representing you? Are they representing you? We have 350,000 children missing. Why aren't they putting that effort in rescuing, at this point, rescuing those children? Rescue those kids. Why don't they put that energy in stopping fentanyl from coming over our borders? How about putting that energy in helping our vets that are on the streets?
Finding the missing children.
Why don't they put that energy in our homeless Americans that spend that money and fight to get them off the streets? What are they doing for, my whole thing is, what are they doing for Americans in this country? What are they doing for us? Are they doing anything for us? Where are you guys from? What part of the country? Are y'all from this country or you're outside of the country? Put in the chat, where are you from? Okay, all right, Chi-Town. Cincinnati, okay, Cincinnati. Illinois, okay. San Diego, Colorado. I want to come to Colorado. I love Deion Sanders. I love the Buffaloes. Texas, Hong Kong, Philly, woohoo, Philly. Travis Hunter. I want to get to Colorado. Tennessee, Colorado, Arizona, Boston, Michigan, Massachusetts, okay. Florida, Pennsylvania, okay. Milwaukee, San Diego, Colorado, equal Broncos, I know. But y'all got rid of Russell Wilson. I liked him. Lexington, Kentucky, Netherlands. Wow, Netherlands is on here. Okay, everybody here ain't for you too. Okay. All right, well, you know, guys, like, it's a pleasure having you on here because, see, I just want to see the mindset, you know, of where everyone is from, because we do have people that are, Colorado is a sanctuary state, Tennessee, Florida, I believe New Jersey. Where else are there's somebody else I'm missing, the sanctuary states that we have. Yeah, they're catching it. Those places, South Carolina. Hi, you guys. Yeah, so we want to have a better country. And my thing is that you want to help others, but you have to help yourself. And I feel like our lawmakers are failing us, especially the Democratic Party. They're doing a disservice to the American people because their focus is not on you. Their focus is not on how to hear what we're saying. It's like they're over there, like that's a great thing. Hey, Marilyn, like that's what we want. None of us is saying that's what we want. We want them to focus on the needs of Americans, and they can't do it. They can't do it. It's not in them.
Cross the border, or how to get nonviolent illegals to self-deport using that app. And we shouldn't have to explain to parents why their kids' schools are overcrowded.
Listen to that.
We shouldn't have to tell small business owners that, look, you might have to face organized theft rings of illegals. Look at the smiles on those TDA members. Our city shouldn't be reeling with serious illegal alien criminals hiding in plain sight.
Look at them smiles.
Just a few days ago, we learned that of the 206 illegals arrested between April 6th and April 12th in New York, ICE says more than half had significant criminal convictions or are currently facing charges for crimes like murder, assault, arson, rape, drugs, and illegal firearms. That's all. One is a foreign fugitive wanted for crimes in his home country, and one has a homicide conviction in the Philippines. This is the nightmarish world that not just Biden, but the entire globalist old guard created. One where during Biden's term in office, GOP members of Congress would express impassioned outrage over the border crush, but they wouldn't do anything else. Spending bills kept getting greenlit. All the while, the migrant numbers kept skyrocketing. And, of course, zero empathy from Democrats for the Americans who never voted for this,
were
forced to deal with this crisis.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens. We are the ones who pay your salaries. And start with cutting off illegals, getting free everything. That'll save us a lot of money, what, $600 million?
And now, for purely political reasons, Democrats are caterwauling about the plight of Mr. Albrego Garcia. We need a new word for phony when it comes to the MS-13 defenders.
I would say they were illegally abducted by U.S. government agents
Listen to this
taken
language.
to foreign prisons against the law. And the reason why it's important to treat each of these cases individually under the law is because our Constitution requires due process before people can be deprived of their liberty.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice, Chris. But what process would really suffice for Senator Van Hollen? The answer is no process is enough for them. Because if it were up to Chris Van Hollen, all the illegals would not only have a right to stay here, but they'd have a right to vote, run for office, and collect every benefit under the sun.
That's what they want.
The sad truth is Van Hollen and the quartet of other Democrat copycats who mimicked his El Salvador trip today cared not one whit about constitutional norms or the rule of law. For if they did, they would not have sat by and allowed our country to be flooded with illegals in the first place. Congressman Jason Smith recently traveled to El Salvador and had the chance to speak with a few of the deported MS-13 illegals whose deportation left-wing legal groups object to.
While we were there was 2 different MS-13 gang members that we spoke to within their cells. One was originally deported from Highland Park, California, who told us that he had killed 6 people while in the United States. And then there was another one deported from Northern Virginia. These are terrorists according to Donald Trump's designation, and they're in the right place right now in El Salvador.
How this plays out legally, it's anyone's guess. While politically Trump's on solid ground, things may get stickier, as we've already seen, in court because the DOJ's own lawyer originally conceded that Abrego Garcia had been sent to the Supermax prison erroneously. Well, of course, that triggered the judges who already loathed Trump and some constitutionalists on the conservative side as well. And over the weekend, another setback for Trump at the Supreme Court when a 7-2 majority ruled in the wee hours of the morning that further deportations of Tren de Aragua gang members should be temporarily halted. Justices Thomas and Alito, as usual, were correct in dissent, with Alito writing, "In the middle of the night, the court issued unprecedented and legally questionable relief without giving the lower courts a chance to rule, without hearing from the opposing party. Within 8 hours of receiving the application with dubious factual support for its order. Both the executive and the judiciary have an obligation to follow the law." And late today, President Trump on Truth Social expressed his frustration, noting that I'm doing what I was elected to do, remove criminals from our country. But the courts don't seem to want me to do that. We cannot give everyone a trial because to do so would take, without exaggeration, 200 years. We'd need hundreds of thousands of trials for the hundreds of thousands of illegals we're sending out of the country. Such a thing is not possible to do. What a ridiculous situation we're in. Oh, he's right about that. The crisis that they created, not Trump.
They created this.
Democrats are open borders radicals. But now they think they've turned the table on Trump on the question of lawlessness. And they're itching for Trump and his team to be found in contempt because it would then help their narrative that he thinks he's above the law. And if Democrats win the House in 2026, they will cite this case as grounds for his impeachment.
Again.
Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, John Sauer, the Solicitor General, they're both very talented lawyers. So this one migrant's case, poorly handled by a lower level staffer, I think they know it shouldn't end up being a defining moment for Trump's immigration priorities. They, the Democrats, created this crisis, and that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
It's amazing that they created this problem. We didn't have this problem 4 years ago. We didn't have open borders. We didn't have 2 wars. We didn't have high inflation. We didn't have the economy. We didn't have high interest rates. We didn't have transgenders in women's sports. We didn't have all this stuff that's going on. We didn't have Afghanistan and killing, what was it, 16 of our American soldiers, leaving billions of dollars worth of equipment there. Now, we supply Iran. Now, they were broke. And now they're on the verge of obtaining a nuclear weapon because of Biden. They have hurt us.
To the youth are Catholic, what point are you trying to make? They're saying they want to talk to the black woman who was on there at the, by the microphone, said because she has a dysfunctional family.
Who?
The black lady that you showed that was at.
Oh, Harris?
No, the lady who was had this shirt on that said "Turning the red, flip it's red."
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably just made that up.
I have no idea. I'm not entertaining that. But we need, it's a lot that's going on. And these people, what I can say is that they're not working for you. They're not working for your welfare.
Process.
They're not working for us. And that's the worst thing about it, is that all this stuff is going on and it's like nothing is being done, by the Democratic Party. Like they have all, even like they said, they have all this going on in Maryland, and the congressman was over there in El Salvador trying to free alleged gang member.
A months-long investigation into a string of robberies linked to a violent Venezuelan gang. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says that 2 of the men are documented members of the notorious gang Tren de Aragua. Now, Fox's Kylie Jones has more tonight from the Polk County Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff Grady Judd says 4 of the 5 men crossed over the U.S.-Mexico border illegally. The 5th was here in 2016 as a Detroit Tigers minor league prospect, but after that, never followed deportation orders. The sheriff does believe they'll be able to link most, if not all, of the men to TDA by the end of this investigation. Despite the smiles on some of their faces, these 5 men are now in jail under ICE detainers and facing decades in prison.
These folks are violent and they're dangerous.
Sheriff Grady Judd says at least 2 of the 5 are documented members of the Venezuelan gang and designated terrorist organization Tren de Aragua. All 5 are in the U.S. illegally.
They've got time to steal, they've got time to rob, they've got time to party.
Polk County detectives say the organized retail crime unit with Publix first sounded the alarm in the fall.
Who noticed a trend of people stealing high-end liquor from them. And during the process of us investigating this, we determined that they were also stealing from Sam's and Walmart.
This is surveillance video from a Sam's Club in Lakeland. You can see the group rush out with a cart of liquor, running into an employee who tries to stop them. Sheriff Judd says during their escape, they crashed their car in the parking lot.
And then they scattered like rats on a sinking ship.
Investigators say Samuel Charles and Ildemaro Mendoza are also connected to a robbery out of Osceola County. The sheriff says Darwin's Leon was known to be in Aurora, Colorado when the TDA took over an apartment complex.
We cannot, and I underscore, we cannot tie him directly to the TDA that was doing the takeover, but he was there during that time period and he was an associate.
On the far left is Alexis Benavides. Investigators say he's a high-ranking TDA member and a suspect in a New Mexico murder case. Sheriff Judd expressed frustrations with what he called a complex federal immigration system, calling for President Trump's help.
We need capacity and we need a system that picks the pace up.
Judd says the 5 could face charges for racketeering, which carries a 30-year mandatory minimum sentence.
These guys are into it up to their eyeballs, and we're going to go ahead and finish sinking them in the criminal justice system.
Sheriff Judd says they have an ICE agent at the Polk County Jail right now, and currently about 72 people there under ICE holds. In Polk County, Kylie Jones, Fox 13 News.
It's just amazing, like what's going on. I've been showing, just not to be biased, MSNBC, Fox News, Forbes News, just different newscasters, so that people can see that what's going on. And mainstream media really doesn't want you to report what's actually happening, but a lot is going on, and it needs to be said. And it's just so sad they're not doing it for American citizens. None of this is being done for American citizens.
Someone said immigrants are legally here. Look up accomplishment of illegal immigrants.
You know what? I don't know if you reside on Earth, because everybody knows, and even Democrats know, we had open borders. You know, we had open borders. They illegally enter our country. That makes them illegally here. They're illegal immigrants. You go to China and say that.
Russia.
Go to Russia and make this same comment and tell them that. Go to France. Go to Switzerland. Go to somewhere else, another country, Germany.
El Salvador.
Go to El Salvador.
Venezuela.
Venezuela. Go tell them that what you said. Okay? Every country just doesn't allow you to just cross into their country illegally. You have to go into their country legally. You have to have a passport to go in. You have to have a visa. You know, you just can't go. And you want to stay in the length of time, the country, you have to get approval for that from that country. You just can't, like what you said, what happened here? They entered here illegally. They're supposed to apply for citizenship. They're supposed to apply for citizenship. And you know that. You know, either we're supposed to follow the law or we're not. Which one is it? Are you supposed to follow the law or not? You know, when is America going to be first? When are they going to start fighting for Americans? When are they going to fight for Americans? Is that too much to ask for our leaders to fight for Americans?
Jacob said, keep it up, guys. God bless you. And God bless America.
Yeah,
Thank you, and God bless you,
You
too.
know, we don't mind the trolls. They make the show because it wouldn't be it wouldn't be any good to me if we didn't have, like, I was listening to another YouTuber. He said, I used to get rid of all the trolls and time them out and get rid of them. Then he realized they were the show. You know, then he realized, he's like, oh no, you want people to hear the truth. If, like, even though they're angry, even though they say things maybe not that nice.
Thanks, Brian.
But we can handle it. But they're listening to us. The main thing, we want them to hear us.
A black guy said, give me back my name. A black guy named Elijah said, Donald doesn't care about you.
Look, that wasn't your name first. You know who Elijah is, right? You know who had the first in the Old Testament, right? So you're not the first, all right?
I can say that.
No, he said, but give him back his name.
No, that's what I'm saying to hell.
Oh, okay.
But he said that Donald Trump doesn't care about us. He's a black guy.
Yeah, I guess Biden cared about you. You love that 1994 crime bill that caused mass incarceration of black men. Woohoo! You down with that, right? And Kamala did her part too. We don't want to forget about wonderful Kamala. She locked up black men as well. And had one on death row. She was trying to ask that guy. If it wasn't for Gavin Newsom, he would have been he would be dead today. But then he was kind enough to do the DNA test and found that the man was innocent. There are a lot of innocent people in jail. So what we have to do as Americans is that we have to come together as one nation under God. And there's a lot of gaslighting going on, and the media is powerful. I didn't realize how powerful the media was until I started changing my opinion. When you change your opinion, I didn't realize how much hate that was being pushed on a certain segment of this country, which are the Democrats. I had no idea that how influential they are, especially if you don't listen to everyone, or listen to other channels or content creators. If you're not on social media, if you're just sucked in to mainstream media, then that's why people are running around acting like Trump did something to them. But the people that were in office, they don't even see that the people in office are the ones that hurt them. It's just so mind-boggling. They don't even see that the Democratic Party has destroyed this country, that has done nothing for them. They're responsible for everything that's going on, and they don't see that.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Someone said this country can't sustain what Biden has done.
It can't sustain it, and they're not hearing it. Trump got the numbers. He knows. We can't sustain this. If they don't bring down that debt, we're gonna be done. They have to. Do y'all understand? And you think we could bring down the debt when we get the debt, when we have 14 million homeless people to take care of, and they running around rapid, like destroying the country?
Ed said you shouldn't believe what you believe.
You know what? I believe it because I'm living it. The news don't have to tell me about experiences. We have been experiencing what's been going on. When has stuff like this, when have the borders been open like this? When have all this stuff been going on? When has it been going on? We're living it. That should be proof in the pudding.
The Taliban's flexing with our military equipment.
They flexing with our military equipment. Oh, this is a great day for. They're flexing with. What are those helicopters called? Those big helicopters. They got all billions and billions of American equipment. That's what they did. And guess what? We're paying them $40 million cash per week
they said,
to the Taliban. Biden started in 2021. You know how much we have paid now? We have paid $6.1 billion to the Taliban.
Damn.
Why are we paying them? Cash, untraceable. Why the Democrats doing that? Why do they do that?
And PGB said we are in a dumb MS-13 crisis.
Yeah, we're in crisis, y'all. Hey, but it's like what blinders are on people that how can you be so angry when they blinded by the you talking about Weekend. Blinded by the lights. He like Weekend. Yeah, how could they be so blinded by the lights, for lack of what's going on, that they can't see what these people, they're hearing. We're telling you what they have done. Y'all mad at the wrong person. Y'all need to be mad at them. Y'all need to say, hold up, when are y'all gonna do something for us?
Baby mine said you raised a good son.
Oh, thank you
Appreciate it.
You know, it's amazing. When are they gonna do something for us? This is insanity on another level. And they got you with Trump. Trump is like, look, I'm going to save America whether y'all want it or not. I'm bringing jobs here whether y'all want it or not. I'm bringing business back here whether you want it or not. Guess what? You don't want terrorists? Invest in the United States. Put your businesses here. Trump is like, I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to take care of all y'all whether y'all like it or not. And I'm going to do what I promised that I'm going to do because he's a man of his word. He's been keeping his word.
Prada,
and I know we're not used to that.
Prada, how are we going to move on when this is the country we're living in? We're experiencing it because of the effects of Joe Biden. They said, now Prada said, leave it to God.
God uses people. God uses people to make a difference. He used Moses. He used King David. He uses people. He used his prophet. He used people to speak out about injustices. You know, you can't just be, silence can't be heard. You have to speak up against this. And America spoke up with the last election. 77 million of us spoke loud and clearly. And these people running around like it's still election going on and they don't even have a leader. Everybody bucking for a leader. What are they promising you, Jimmy? Tell me. What are they promising you? I want to hear it.
Yeah, Elijah, but God exists.
What?
Determining where you go if someone takes you out in a combat zone. He said God doesn't exist in a combat zone.
Well, you're going to call on God if you're there.
Yeah.
Because you don't want that second death. When you stand before God, that's eternity. I'm going to say it again. Heaven is real. Hell is real. The devil is real. And the angels are real. That wickedness and evil is real. It's real. And when you leave this earth, you're going to either go to heaven or hell. That's a fact. But you better accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior and that he died for your sins. Because he said in order to go to heaven, you have to go through the Son. So you have to have faith in God and you got to believe in Jesus Christ. Because God said that every mouth should confess and every knee shall bow. That Jesus Christ is Lord and he was raised from the dead. You know, so this is your opportunity to accept it. And the best thing you could do is If you don't believe it, read your Bible. Let God speak to you directly. The Holy Spirit is no better teacher than the Holy Spirit. You don't even have to have a pastor. God to teach you himself. Just open up the good book. Open up the Bible. And then you can fuss with God. And guess who's going to win? God's going to win. So, you know, you're not just here. You're not just here. You're not just here. You know, so you got to understand, it's more than you. It's more than you. And you're going to find out. And you don't want to find out the hard way when you stand before God and then say, oh, God, now I believe. They were saying you was real God, but I didn't believe it. They said that Jesus died for my sins, but I didn't believe it. He shed his blood. There's nothing you have done that God won't forgive you for when you repent and ask for forgiveness.
Elijah, then I'll ask you, what do you believe created you and made life on earth and made everything? I'll just ask you that simple question. He said he fought for his right to not believe.
Well, keep on fighting for that right. The enemy is happy. He got another body.
Outlaw said, Elijah, quit trying to cry for attention.
He won. Okay. You want to give your life to the devil? He's happy because he knows his destiny is hell.
Oh, see a PGB. Now Elijah said that he's stardust. So
what?
I guess he believes in the Big Bang Theory. He said like he's stardust.
So you believe in something. You rather believe in that than to believe in God who gave you life, that gave you breath, that created you, right? But don't worry, you'll call on him one day when you need him. Everybody buckles. When you need him, you can't call on dust or whatever you can't call on that. When you need God to save you or to heal you, you'll call on him then. I promise you that. That's when people become believers.
That's why when something happens, people say, Jesus
When
Christ.
something happens, they say, Jesus. Yeah, you'll call on him then. Because that's the only one that can save you. We can't help you. Only God can help you. Yeah. People try to call on people. People can't do what God only can do. So anyway, you guys, we just thank everybody for coming on. We can ready to jump off of this because it's getting a little late. Elijah has college tomorrow. I got to get up. I have work tomorrow. So this is our second time that we came on today. But we thought it was important for people to understand that why Trump is getting all this pushback when presidents that preceded him, they deported illegals by the millions with no pushback, no protest, no yelling, no court injunctions, they have due process, none of that. Now we have criminals, we have gangs, we have cartel, we have terror, we have all this. And the Democrat leaders want to do all they can to protect them off of our taxpayer dollars at that. Not only do we have to take care of them, then they want to use the money to travel. Like that's what we want the Democratic Party to go get that guy. Really. That's what Americans want. Sure we do. We want them to do something for us. Do what you were voted to do. Take care of Americans and the problems that we're having. You know, it's like they're doing everything for everyone else except for Americans. That's why they came out with America First. And that's why we're probably going to want to organize in a rally, America First. Because there's 77 million of us out here. Don't let this fool you. They got 27% approval rating. The Democrats are at the lowest point, and these fools are still running around. Can you hear us now? No. They can't hear us.
You see all the people like that dude recently that are going after Trump. Trump is putting his life on the line for everyone.
He's doing everything he can to save America.
That one dude took out his parents.
Oh, what is it at? 21%. Okay. You said I can hear you. Okay, you can hear me. God bless you too and your family. Thank you so much. Happy Easter. He's a man in America would win again. Yeah, this is like without him, if he wasn't president, we would be done with Kamala. Kamala was unqualified. She couldn't even talk. She couldn't even communicate. We were not going to survive her and Tampon Tim. They weren't going to close the borders. They could do whatever they wanted to. They would have been tearing these cities up, and we would have said, "What the president going to do? Nothing." China would be running the world. Russia would Ben had taken over what's that, Ukraine. I mean, we would be in disarray. America would be done. And if we don't have the right people, and in 2026 or whatever, we better make sure that when elections come up, we need to keep the House, we need to keep the Senate, and we need to keep president in 2028 to be Republican, because these people do not know what they're doing, and they don't have any policies. They don't talk about policies. They don't talk about what they're going to do for American people, because there's nothing there. They don't have those conversations. All they do is complain about what they have caused. They caused this ruckus. They caused everything we're going through. This is what they did, and they caused this. But they blaming Trump, and y'all blaming him, and y'all not blaming the people that caused it. It's like y'all are sleeping. They did 4 years. Who was in charge? For God's sakes. They were. They were. Well, anyway, you guys, I'm just reading some of this, but God is good. And y'all got to keep your focus on God. Put God first in your life. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. We just thank you for taking your time and being with us. And we don't know, we might be on here tomorrow, because we don't really do any notification or whatever, but we're growing the channel, and we're going to be bringing people on. Like right now, I did start a membership. Like people can go and they can join, my membership. I can, once you join, you'll get, your emojis and different things, and I'll have different polls for the members. So I just did that yesterday. So I'm starting a membership, and we're going to start using the different software so that we can bring people, because we want y'all to have a voice. We want to hear from you, and we just want to keep it real, and we don't mind comments. We couldn't be on here. You don't need to be online if you can't handle the trolls or the people, because when people are losing an argument, then they say disrespectful things. But we do ask that use the dictionary. Use a dictionary. Use a thesaurus. We have a dictionary. Pick words. You don't have to curse. You don't have to imitate the Democratic Party and the leadership. These people are supposed to be educated and have degrees, and the only thing they're doing is cursing. And guess who's cursing and all that? The freaking constituents. They got the citizens behaving just like them. Because if they're rude and being unruly, then the citizens are going to be rude and unruly, because they're not giving them any policies. They're not giving them anything to stand on. So they're just imitating the leadership. So anyway, you guys, thanks for being on. Don't forget, we love reading the comments. See, all this go away once I would be responding to it, but all this goes away, the chat and everything, once I end the video. So if you want to reach out, if you want to give your viewpoint, I'll respond to you. Do you support Trump, or do you support the Democratic leaders? Are you in support of them going over to El Salvador? All these Democrat leaders running over there? What did the Democrat Party, what have they done for you? What have they done? What are they? Can you please tell me? One of the Democrats, leave comments after I get off. Leave comments. What have they done for Americans? What are they doing to support us? Where's their energy? And tell me also, who's the Democratic leader? I love to hear that. So who you think gonna win this illegal war? Trump or the Democrats? Do you think it's going to make a difference with them going over to El Salvador? That Trump is going to say, oh, I better listen. Do y'all really think that? Or the president over there, that's his citizen. He's home. Kilmar Garcia is home. He can get due process in his country. He's home. He's not American. He's home. Okay, well, anyway, thanks for joining us. I love you. Y'all, you guys stay safe. And just remember, we're just giving our opinions. This is the United States. It's freedom of speech. Y'all could speak, speak your mind, but do it respectfully. If you believe in that, and mind you, I'm not blaming the immigrants. I'm blaming the Biden administration. I'm blaming the Democrats. They did this. And they're caught in the middle because they're just being used. They just want the votes. They don't care about them. They want the votes. They want to push this agenda. Like they said, it's not just about Kilmar Garcia. It's about all of them. They want them here because they don't care what happens to this country as long as they have the power. So anyway, thanks for joining us. God bless you. And just look for the notification. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And the last people on here, can y'all hit those likes? And maybe we'll get 100, up to 100 likes on here. God bless. Thank you, Outlaw. You're amazing. Thank you.